Hello and welcome back to Inspired Alchemy's Raw and Unfiltered with Lizzie. Today is episode 6, The Shedding. And the shedding is exactly what it sounds like. It is the process of shedding your skin, of shedding everything that is not you, of shedding the what the world tells you to be, and fully starting to embrace who you actually are. This past weekend, on Easter, as I do, let me go back. My first tattoo I ever got was actually on Easter after I moved out of my house. And it was a butterfly. It was to signify my freedom and my ability to fly free and my ability to be wild. And along the way, I kind of lost that in a way. And so this past Easter, 3 of my tattoos have been on Easter. I got a snake. It was supposed to be the day before Easter, but as things work out as they should, it ended up being on Easter. So it was pretty much, was it 21 years separated, right? Of two things that are rebirth and transformation. So even before the snake was etched into my skin, um, I knew that it was supposed to be there. Once the stencil went on, I was excited. I could feel the shift. And at the same time, I knew it was going to be a big shift. And so this past week has been an absolute insane shift and a roller coaster of pretty much emotions and movement and shedding of old belief systems and the universe coming in and saying, hey, is this something that you actually want to let go of? Or are you going to hold on to it? Are you going to hold on to those limiting beliefs? Are you going to hold on to those glass ceilings? Are you going to hold on to old versions of yourself that are outdated and not serving who you are becoming? And so it has been crazy to see these things come up. That's why awareness is so important. So this past week, I've been shedding, just as my tattoo's been shedding. It's very symbolic of what is happening in my life right now. So snakes have actually always been something that have been important in my life, and I didn't realize until a couple of years ago how important they are. I would see snakes for a long time. I really wanted a snake. Who knows? Maybe I'll still get one. But snakes have always been around me. When I was going to go through a really big up level or a really big shift in awareness, I would either find skin or the snake would slither across my path, depending on what kind of shift was going to happen. And even before I started talking about awareness or really becoming self-aware, I guess I was, because I was looking at those times and going, oh, yeah, something significant happened after I saw a snake. So most people don't like snakes, but I tend to love them. Even after I had one that bit my Great Dane. There was a moccasin and my Great Dane was bitten. And 6 months later, after being bitten, she passed away from complications from that bite. And it was a big, she was actually saving me. I didn't know the snake was there, which is funny because I actually have snaky sense. I can feel when snakes are around. I'll be like, oh, I feel snake energy. And as crazy as that sounds, I'm normally right. Snakes aren't inherently bad. They're here to teach us. And while it sucks that we lost a family member, um, because our Great Dane was amazing, she was saving me and I learned something in the process, right? I always learn something in the process. And so I was going back to my tattoo. I was very intentional with how it was placed. The head is coming up my body instead of off because energy rises. And it is on my right hand. So the energy will rise, it will go out, and it will go out through my left hand through the key that I have on my left arm. And somehow it completes a cycle. It completes a circuit, right? And shedding, although it's not always painful for the snake, it can be, and it can be very uncomfortable. And you can, or it can need to rub up against hard things to remove that skin. And that's kind of how I feel. Sometimes these rough patches in our lives and the hard times are the moments where we're shedding, and we need those things to show us who and what we really are and what we really, really want out of life. And if you look up snake symbolism, or even like the process of a snake shedding its skin and how its eyes get cloudy and all of that kind of stuff, it's so symbolic of the process of growth and transformation, especially from an alchemy point of view, where snakes are actually really important. The snake, the dragon, the phoenix, they're all indicative of change, growth, rebirth. And they're not something to fear, but something to gain awareness around. And although some shifts won't hurt as you shed, some will. And it's about knowing where to find your softness, who to fall back on if you need help, not being afraid to ask for help, not being afraid to show that you're in a state of I'm struggling at the moment, right? Um, Snakes will often go into hiding when they're shedding because they are at a vulnerable point. But all of this is to say the shedding process is messy. You can live bits of your skin everywhere as you're doing that. For me, I tend to go internal sometimes because I don't want this process to affect anybody else negatively, but I also know that there are people there to help me through this. And I have to be brave enough to ask for that help when I need it and not feel like a burden and not feel like this process is going to hurt somebody else, right? Again, my intention is never to hurt anybody, but we also need to ask for help when we need it. So there's also, I wrote, I want to say it was a year or two ago on the website, there's actually a blog post about shedding because I had found snakeskin. And I actually have some snakeskin here at my house that I'm going to kind of, I think, turn into an art piece and hang it up for the appreciation of transformation. So again, the shedding process, it can be uncomfortable, but you can make it through it. Just have the awareness around when you need to be alone and when you need help and around what you're shedding. And know that you're being asked to look deeply within yourself to see what's next. So if you are interested in this topic, I would suggest looking up alchemy and snakes. I might even post some stuff on our Facebook group or the business page. Again, we have a WhatsApp group, a Facebook group. I'm going to be opening another Facebook group, I believe. I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet. We have the business page. I'm updating the website. We have a lot of things in the works. So if you like to hear more about this stuff, then we have those places that we can talk about it. You can ask questions. You can always message me on social media if you have any questions or you want to talk deeper about it. Here for it. So happy Friday, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.